I reckon we'll start now.
Now.
And then I won't edit it.
Okay.
And we'll just say nothing too offensive.
All right. Why would we do that? We're not offensive people.
That's very true.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Here's to your first podcast. I feel very, very privileged. Let's do a ching. And then you have to drink. But it's pretty fucking hot, so.
Yeah, mate. Thanks.
Yeah. It's a little bit of an honour. To be your first guest.
It only felt right. Because the only other podcasts I've ever been on are yours. And I feel like you were the main person that gave me the kick up Latouche. So it felt like it felt right. Because we recorded one before, didn't we?
That was quite funny. Yeah.
That I won't be putting out. I might do like a little cheeky segment because there was definitely some nuggets of wisdom in the beginning.
There were some beautiful moments.
And then we got a little bit inebriated. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Sure. And the dog kept barking and it was really waffly. And I think the last 25 minutes were just the sounds of us eating pizza going, oh, that's quite good. I'll send it to you. Yeah, I've saved it. I'll send it to you because it was really funny. But I feel like lunchtime over coffee is probably a better way to start.
It's definitely more sensible.
It's more sensible.
It's more civilised.
Yes.
Having the... does everyone know we've got camera on?
Yeah.
Because having that on makes me a little bit more conscious.
Definitely.
That people are watching.
Definitely. I'm kind of like...
Yeah.
Whereas I think last time I was tits to the wind. Whereas I think last time you had to keep reminding me to sit forward for the mic because I was just like...
Slouchy Mc...
Lounging. Yeah. Slouchy McLoungerson.
I like that. I wanted to just like comment on this idea of when we do like voice notes to each other.
Yeah.
And the same with having a video on, and you know that somebody is going to listen or see what you're doing, speaking about, whatever. There's like this weird thing that happens. So recently I recorded a voice note for the drummer in my band, and I become really conscious of the moment that he would be listening to it. And it was really weird because I was like, I can hear... I know you've just realised what I'm going on about. Like it was like my consciousness went all the way forward to the point in time that he was going to listen to it, or that did listen to it, heard his like cognitive function, and then came all the way back to me recording the message. And in that moment, I completely lost all like understanding of anything. Like I had a complete meltdown. I was like, oh shit. So yeah,
I love it.
Anyone watching this,
are you now really hyper aware of that, and your brain's going to start leaking out your ear? The good thing was though, because I think another reason that we wanted to do one together podcast is numero uno, is because we have some pretty cool, interesting voice notes, and it was good that we discussed via voice note and text, because I know there are a few things that we wanted to talk about.
Yes.
And luckily it wasn't in person, because we both were like, oh, we'll definitely forget. So I was able to like go back through our voice notes,
make some notes,
and be like, oh, we want to like talk about that.
Yeah, because I wanted to take the opportunity to. We've definitely like recorded some long ass podcasts, right?
I think our first one was 3.5 hours.
Yeah, I think the second one wasn't far off of that. And generally we only stopped them like because we'd definitely been waffling for long enough, and it was really late.
We're too tired and too pissed.
Yeah, exactly. And so I kind of, when you said like, let's do it at lunchtime, I was like, right, well, that's time restriction, time restraint all of a sudden. And when I thought about it in that moment, I was like, this is a great opportunity to, well, for you, first of all, you've already done your intro. So it's like, right, well, people already know that the reason behind doing this.
Yeah.
But like I'd like to be in a way like a soundboard for that. So you know, where do you, I'm going to ask the first question.
What? Interviewing me?
I'm just going to ask one question. What do you want to get out of doing it? And I don't mean like having like nice, interesting conversations and stuff like that, but like, what's the aim? Do you just want to talk to people and just be like, this is a chatty one? Or is there something that you're trying to sort of highlight in people?
I think...
or give a platform?
Yeah,
for?
I think that's mainly what it is. I think I see it being I've got a few... so like, for instance, I've got a friend of a friend who's a functional medicine practitioner. I feel like that's something that not loads of people know things about. So I was like, it'd be really cool to have her on and, you know, spread a bit of information. I also think there will just be chatty ones with friends where it's like, maybe it's just a bit of a laugh to listen to, but also, yeah, just another platform for, because like, okay, so you wanted to talk about the music that you've recently released, so it's just like another place to kind of be like, hey, here's my like cool mate doing this really cool thing, like and I think the kind of not combination but the kind of overarching theme of all of those things, I think, is probably just like the betterment of everyone, whether you feel just a bit better in the moment because you've had a laugh at me sounding like a bit of a tit in front of a microphone, or it's because you've learnt something that's gonna make your life a bit better, or because you've heard about someone following their passions and it maybe just makes you think, oh, maybe I'll do it, because it doesn't always have to be some like massive celebrity doing a fucking ultra marathon for charity or something. Like, the main reason that I had the confidence to start this is because you do a podcast and because you messaged me.
If he can do it, fuck me, anyone can.
No, but because you encouraged me and I saw you doing it and was like, well, yeah, you don't just have to be like a celebrity with a massive platform. I mean, I know you are. Local legend. So yeah, I think that's the kind of... It's that classic thing, isn't it? It's like, why not me? Like, why not? Why not? I'm not saying it's, you know, it might not get massive, might get massive. Who knows? I want to have fun doing it. And if like one person listens and is like a little bit inspired to like go after something that they want, then like, sweet man, mission accomplished. And like, we'll just have a laugh in the meantime.
I think that is the perfect point. And that's exactly how I feel about what I want to talk about on here.
Yeah.
Because...
that was a good segue.
Whoa,
amazing, this is
right?
why you've got a podcast. I need some tips.
Get it in. I mean, what? I thought I need to drink your coffee. Didn't realise. But, you know, just the tip. It's the best way of finding out if you like it. So the idea was that if I can create... Not if I can create, I do create. I can't not create. I've tried like being just a dad and a husband, right? And sitting there, getting home from work, and I'll crack a beer and I'll, you know, play with the kids or read a book or whatever. And all that happens is I just end up cracking another beer and then another beer. And then before I know it, I'm just cracking beers all the time.
Before I know it, I'm face down.
Absolutely.
Down on the carpet.
Yeah. The kids are like, Dad, you're dribbling again. Yeah. You know. And what do you do for entertainment? You end up like just watching shit on telly or, you know, or surfing the internet, finding somebody else that's having an interesting conversation that you can listen. The scroll hole, absolutely. And so for me, it's like, well, I've got all this inspiration. I listen to music and I literally I'm like, oh man, right. I've just had this brilliant idea. I want the vocals to sound like this. I want like, you know, whatever it might be. I have all this inspiration that's just daggers being thrown at me all the time.
Ooh,
so it's like, I need to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Whether I put it out or not is kind of irrelevant. I have to create.
You have to create, right?
Yeah. However, once I reached a point of I would call it professionalism, in the sense that I used to be able to just sort of like riff it up in the jam room with my homeboys, like make loads of noise, go out on stage and go, yeah, look at us, rah, make loads of noise, and like everyone's playing a solo over everyone else, and like it's just noise, noise, yeah, chaos, literally. And then you go into a studio and you go, right, we want to record. And so the guy's like, right, cool, hit record. Yeah, we want it to sound like when we're playing live though, yeah? So we're all just going to do it. So he's like, yeah, cool, right, hits record. You record it all, you hit playback, and all of a sudden you're like, that sounds awful. And the guy recording it goes, yeah, that's what you sound like live. Shit, you know?
Brutal.
And luckily for me, that happened years and years ago. That never actually really happened, but it happened like in here, which is where it's most important. I listened back to it and I was like, if that is the product that we're like giving people when we perform live, I don't even want people to hear that. So I started very slow, and I'm only talking like 5, 6, 7 years, right? And it's only really been in the last 2 years that I feel like I know what I'm doing musically, like really know what I'm doing. As in, I've always been creative. I've always picked up my guitar and or picked up my bass, and you know, I've always written stuff and played, but I'd never really thought about it in the context of what a song needs, like a piece of music, how it moves, what it needs to have its own, you know, have its own persona.
Yeah.
And so basically what happened was, prior to recent times, and by that obviously I mean CV19, prior to that, I'd stopped playing live. I'd stopped working with my long-term music partner, and kind of begun a journey in like electronics, like the technical side of it, recording and stuff like that. And I'd experimented with recording all different kinds of music, and eventually it came around that I ended up getting back in touch with the drummer and writing partner, and we just started like testing the water, and we realised very quickly that it wasn't about writing a song in a jam room and keep rehearsing it to then go and play live for half an hour at some shit venue down the road, right? Yeah. It wasn't what we wanted to do. What we wanted to do is we wanted to create the most interesting piece of music that was listenable. Didn't want to make easy listening, but we wanted to make it so that it didn't hurt your ears to listen to it. Yeah. We wanted it to hurt your head a little bit, in the sense of like, oh, where's this going? We wanted it to move your body, and we wanted it to make you to be provocative from a thoughtful point of view. But ultimately, we wanted it to sound as fucking good as it could possibly sound, so that we could proudly go, check out what we do. And I feel like that's what we've done. When CV happened, for us it was like fucking awesome. This literally doesn't change a thing. We are already working in our studios. Yeah. We're already sending stuff backwards and forwards. Like, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? Tweak that, tweak this. It was mainly about listening, you know. And so to bring it up to date, on the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022.
What's up?
Perfectly. Anyone who's listened to the previous podcasts that we've done, and if you haven't, Prying Open, you can find it anywhere. That's my show. Plug it. We released, so if you have listened to these podcasts, you'll know that me and Mads are well into numbers and seeing sweet That seems to be the most common one at the moment, is 2-2-2. I was at a jam the other night. I'm playing bass for another band, and I looked over at the keyboardist and happened to notice his sound setting. His sound setting was 22. It's got, you know, like a Nord, nice little synthesizer. And I was like, of course it's 22. Like, why wouldn't it be 22? And then I noticed there's another little digit like over to the left, and it was also on 2. And I was like, well, obviously, because literally every night I go to bed and it's either 2022 or it's 2220, or, you know, it's always a variation. And every now and then, in a moment of inspiration, I'll get the full 4 2s. Yeah. Not very often, more often 3. But so it made perfect sense to go and to release on the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022. And yeah, we released 4 tracks, 3 what I consider to be party bangers. They're kind of straightforward, like 4 to the floor. There's a groove, big chorus, you know, you can kind of like, and then one that it's in a weird timing. It's like, it's not very radio friendly. It's a little bit odd. And we decided we were going to put that first on the 4 tracks. And I had this soundbite, which, if you don't mind, I'm just going to read to you. This is somebody who checked it out, and they responded with a little bit of a... So it's, I'm listening to your EP now. The production's incredible, thank you. We produced everything ourselves. We had 1 track mastered by somebody in Brighton called Katie. So Conjecture Drums, that's the 2nd track, but the title track. Conjecture Drums really reminds me of 30 Seconds to Mars. So if you're a 30 Seconds to Mars fan,
go on.
Go and, if you like the drums, go and listen. Loving the vocal overlays on the first 2 tracks. Sounds like it took a lot of time to piece it together. Yes, about 2 years.
How apt.
4th track is my favourite, I think. It's so versatile, and just when you think you know where the music's going next, it throws a surprise at you. And the dirty, heavy sections make it my number 1. This is the bit that I wanted to say. It said, having such a chilled track first gave me a misconception. When the 2nd track kicked in, absolutely loved it. And I just... Nice. That was kind of... Because the way you put stuff out is just as important as the stuff you put out. And I don't mean like timing it right so that it goes out at lunchtime when everyone's in the scroll hole, or you know, like we were saying before, you were saying before about putting this out. Do you put it out on a Friday night so people have got the weekend? Who's listening to podcasts at the weekend? No one, right? No. So you put it out on the whatever. I'm not talking about the timing of it. I'm talking about the way you deliver it. The way you guys delivered, because you'll hear loads more about it. Mads with Emma has F-Stop, your print company, and the way that you opened that and sort of presented it to people in its initial... So I've said this to you before, I didn't have a clue what you were up to. I just kept
That was kind of intentional. We weren't just completely naive. We were kind of like, let's just keep... Because Dan messaged Emma and was like, really like the photos you're posting. Don't really know what the fuck you're planning on doing with them, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was kind of like, you know, like little teasers.
Yeah. Couple of tips.
Couple of tips. We are a couple of tips. I said tits.
You said tits. Yes.
Classique.
So you're gonna have some sound effects, aren't you? Not necessarily on this
now,
one,
but I would like to.
You need to have a tits sound effect, I think, because I reckon you'll say it. Yeah, I reckon you'll say it a lot, and you should use maybe the there was a bit in that Instagram live where Emma said something about tits, and I can't remember what it was.
Classic.
Anyway, yeah. Edit this bit out.
No.
So yeah, I know, right?
With the video as well. Well, this is going out the way it's going
Screw
out,
that. Bud. Exactly. But with F-Stop, the way you presented it, the way you delivered your new business to people through that Instagram Live. And I know everyone's doing Instagram Live for various reasons, and it wasn't the Instagram Live that was inspirational. It was the way you two were. It was the fact that you were on camera. It was the fact that you just had a legit chat. It was the fact that you got drunk or were already started drunk. Like, it was so it was so honest. It was so appealing. It was so like, and this lends itself to your content creation business. I think the world needs so much more of this at the moment, and that is like, create with integrity, put it out with integrity. You know, everybody knows you're doing shit for money. We need money to pay the fucking rent, to pay our bills, to feed our children, to feed ourselves, to buy nice clothes, anything, any of that, to buy this equipment. You need money, right? This is the way. You don't have to, like, the way marketing has been for so long has been like, oh, don't tell anyone we're doing this really for money. Pretend we're doing it because we care. And it comes across as so disingenuous.
100%.
And people can sense your bullshit, right? So don't bullshit.
And I think that's like a massive part of, like you say, people being, like, it being increasingly important that people are authentic and stuff online, but also it's people doing their passions as their job. Not, oh well, I have to go and get like whatever shit job that I don't really like because I have to pay the bills, and then at the weekend and in the evenings I make music, take photos, whatever. And it's interesting that you, like, thank you, appreciate like the nice words about like the way we launched it and stuff, but it's interesting because we had this conversation the other day. We're actually, it's so funny because it's only been out for like, 3 weeks or something. We're already going to do a rebrand because we were out to lunch and I said to Emma, I was like, what do you think of like the branding and stuff? Which is a hilarious question because I did it all. I built the website and everything. And I was like, it just doesn't really feel like us, you know. We are the people that get dressed up and drunk on an Instagram Live to launch our business. We went to a print company to test their paper and stuff, to sell the prints on. And I mean, you've met us both, just loudmouth idiots. Like, we just turn up like, bah, in the office. And I was like, but if you looked at our website and our Instagram and stuff, it's very soft, you know. All the branding is like, I went with a nude colour because they're going to be nude images. But I was like, actually, this doesn't represent us at all. And I was wearing like a burnt orange shirt, and Emma was like, burnt orange is my favourite colour. And I was like, mine too. Why have we not gone like balls to the wall, orange, fun? And we've come up with this complete, so we're gonna, Emma's away next week, and then we're gonna relaunch for the spring equinox. Amazing. And it feel more authentic, because I think as much as we wanted to go, you know, this be our creative expression, there was definitely a part of us that was still like, oh, but we do want to make money from it because we want our passion to be what provides our income. So what do we think people want to see? And I think they maybe want this quite like chic fine art, like soft pink, like whatever. Do you know what I mean? And obviously coming from the wedding industry as well, you develop a certain style around being a wedding photographer. So I think that kind of all spilled into it, and we were like, actually, and this comes down to one of the things that I know we wanted to talk about, is that feeling of authenticity, because I believe in my lovely hippie land that if you're not doing something completely authentically, then it's probably not going to work out. So if it doesn't feel like really good, not only are you probably just not going to put your all into it, but there's going to be a mismatch in vibration somewhere where it's not going to, it's probably not going to do what you want it to do, because you're not quite doing it the way that it's coming to you. You're kind of filtering it through your like society filter that's in your brain, and then the inspiration comes out in a different way that it went in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the thing. What again, and it comes to music as well. When you're creating for what you think others want to hear, see, what you think others want to consume, you are never going to innovate. You're never going to create something that people really want, because you don't know what people want. The only thing you can do, and when I say this, I mean like literally the only thing you can ever do is be yourself. Even when you're trying to produce things for others, with that in mind, you're still it's still coming through your filter, like you said. It's still coming through your lens. But the difference is you're doing it because of them. You're doing it because that's what you think they want. If you do it because it's what you love, because if you present it because that's who you are, the people who like what you do will like what you do.
Exactly.
And the people who like what you think they like won't anyway, or they will, because it'll be like, I didn't even know I liked this.
Yeah, exactly. Right? I listened to a podcast recently with a Stoic writer. He kind of writes and rewrites and comments on stuff from the Stoics, and he's got like loads of books. And he said that when he released the first one, he said he was like, nothing that's really good is going to immediately be popular, because it should be polarizing, it should be interesting, it should be a new thought, so it might take time to stick. Like I've just started reading 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, and it got turned down by something like 38 publishers before the 39th said yes, and it like pretty much immediately was like a number one bestseller, and is still, I think it's been out for like 15 years, and it's still, people read it today.
Well, it's like my book that I've not published yet. I've definitely been I've been turned down by publishers, and I know that it's going to be a number one bestseller. Yeah, exactly. It's just a matter of time.
And this is I think that's another element of, so maybe we'll get to this. We were talking about the other day about being clear on what you want, right? Yeah. And I feel like when you are, nothing will deter you. So in the spirit of being authentic online, I had a shit day yesterday and a shit morning today, relative to me. And obviously I've like launched a couple of things recently, and having book publishers turn you down or whatever. I've experienced for so many years people not valuing what I do and what I'm trying to offer, and knocking me down on price, or being like, oh, well, can't you just the classic thing. And if anyone who's listening is a photographer will know, oh, can you just bring your camera? It's like a really easy thing and doesn't totally kill my social time. Anyway, so I'd experienced like a lot of this, and yesterday just kind of a few things in my mind came to a head, and I kind of had the what the fuck am I doing thing. Like, actually, I want to create this life for myself, but it is stressful, and no one's biting at it yet, and I've had so many knockbacks and blah blah blah, and like maybe it would just be easier to just like go get a job and like have a steady income and just like be sweet, and was just feeling completely deflated. And normally I would sit in that hole for a good few days before I come out of it. But I was journaling this morning, and I was like, do you know what? This actually isn't an option for me anymore. I don't want to go. Do you see? Oh, yeah, the camera's on, so it might be out. Do you know it's because the electrics are dodgy? So whenever there's a surge, but because when there's a surge in energy in the other electrics, but also in the room. For anyone just listening, the lights just flickered. I basically was like, this is not optional. There is zero anything at all wrong with working in a bar or a coffee shop or whatever, but I've done my time there and I don't want to do it anymore. And I thought about going back to that world and felt instantly miserable. And I was like, do you know what? This actually isn't an option. I have to make this work. I have to. And am hearing it so loudly and feeling it so strongly that there's no way it can't work out. It might take a bit of time to catch on, but there is no way that I can feel so strongly about it and it not be right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
So I was like, do you know what? Yeah, actually, let's just be. I think it's being active, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was nice that frustration prompted me into action rather than laying face down on my bed screaming into my pillow.
But this is, I mean, I'm 43. I've literally just turned 43.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. And
so cold and gritty. I forgot. I thought there was more and it was still warm.
So turning 43, having 2 children and a wife, and realising I can't. See that? Do you see that? That's paint. That's paint and a bit of mastic, because my day job is to fucking paint people's houses, as you know, right? But that's not my life, you know. That is a way of putting food on the table while I spend 2 years creating a masterpiece in music. And the other thing is that's not all of who I am either, you know. So these 4 tracks that took 2 years, I'm so proud of. In the last 6 months, I realised that actually I haven't played an instrument for any longer than, I don't know, 4 beats to the bar. Because quite simply, you don't have to when you're recording, especially when you're working with electronics. It's mainly looping. You know? The only thing that you kind of might do is you might sing a bit for a longer period of time, but ultimately you're going to sing a bit and then you're going to start running out of breath. So you like pause it and then you do the next bit when you're ready. You know, that's kind of how it is. And I wanted to also, and this goes into the authenticity thing as well. I also believe that in music there is beauty and authenticity in the improvisation of music. Just being in a room and just playing, right? And on your own, it's marvelous. I love it. I get lost and I'll literally sit there whittling away for hours. I have another drummer friend who he does exactly the same thing, and it's incredible. And for years and years and years, we've got together and we've done this. We've done these jams, you know. And I don't mean like choosing a Jimi Hendrix song and like deciding to play it. Like that isn't just jamming.
Going rogue.
Literally in the room together. He's got a beat going, and I'm like. I'm sitting there with him and I'm weaving in and out of whatever he's hitting, and then he's weaving in and out of whatever I'm strumming, and between us we're just sort of intermingling and then we're breaking apart because we want to break apart, and we went and played together recently, and we decided we wanted to bring someone else into it. We wanted a different sound, so we found a keyboard player and pianist, so he's now in the room as well, and he's doing the same thing. He's interweaving between us, and it's very jazz, but it's not jazz. There are many forms of jazz, and I recently come to the conclusion through listening to Bill Evans' interview. He's a jazz musician, and he was saying that jazz is a vibe. It's an approach. It's not a style of music. It's not a genre. You have swing, you have bebop, like all of these things. They are styles of music. They're genres. Jazz is the approach. It's you're plugging in to something. If you like, I like to imagine it as like there's this tube of music that's just like flowing, right? And it's always happening, and everything interacts with it. We interact with it with our voices in the form of talking, like, and you listen to other languages, like French, like how much more musical is the French language. You're learning French, so but then listening to animals, you listen to dogs when they get together, you know, they make noises together, and it can get tuneful, you know. Birds are the obvious example, right? But also the wind, the way the wind, like, all of a sudden will whistle, it will you know, it's that tube of music. It's the only way I can kind of, like, because that's how I'm picturing it in my mind. This tube of music that's just, like, constantly flowing. And what we do is we you know, we're going into the room and we're deciding we're all going to plug into that tube. We're all going to stick our finger into the tube that's rushing past, and we're just going to, like, you know, and whatever it does, however it kind of, like, comes out, it comes out.
Yeah.
And that's...
Which is amazing, by the way. Like, as someone who is not musical and has never played an instrument, it's, like, incredible to watch. I watched a video that you uploaded of you guys just jamming, and I can't, I don't have those musical elements of my brain that can comprehend how you just get in a room and just play an instrument, and you all kind of meld together that way. It's so cool to watch.
It's listening. That's literally all it is. It's more about listening. So in that 2-year period, what I was saying, in the last 6 months, I decided I wanted to do more. I wanted to be better at my instrument, right? Yeah. So I started learning stuff. I used to play with the plectrum because I'm Duf. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Duf.
Hi.
Welcome.
My older brother nicknamed me Duf after the bass player from Guns N' Roses.
I actually don't know. I actually have never known why your name is Duf.
There you go. Right?
Shit. Yeah. How many years of friendship, and now we know. I knew that too, but there you go.
Yeah.
That's why.
So amazing. That happened when I was like 14, 15, because Guns N' Roses were at the peak of their career. I was 14, 15, you know, post-pubescent, and you know, it's what I was into. Yeah. And I used to, like, the bass player used to wear this chain around his neck with a padlock on it, so I did it. And then my brother was like, "All right, Duf," you know, and that's how he jokingly introduced me to his friends, because I started hanging out with his friends because I was coming of age, and they wanted to, like, you know, the initiation. They were in their 20s. And they just then introduced me to all of their friends as Duf, and it just went on. And before I knew it, I'm just Duf. Like, that's how it is.
I didn't know your birth name for probably the first year I knew you.
Amazing. Yeah. I think many people out there still don't.
No, we won't reveal.
Not that it matters. You know. So I decided that.
You wanted to get better at your instrument.
Yeah, and so I used to play with the plectrum because Duff McKagan did, and then 6 months ago I was like, I couldn't find a plectrum. Never find a plectrum. It's an anomaly.
I feel like it's like hair grips for girls.
It's exactly like that.
Or blokes who like to grip their hair.
Yeah.
For anyone who wears hair grips.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
So I started just playing with my fingers, because that's generally how bass players used to play anyway. You know, if you were on the double bass, you were either playing with the bow or you were using your fingers. You know, and I just got into that more, and that then led to, you know, using my thumb and so in these, like, where I'd be sat on my own and I'm just like 3 hours, a few beers and whatever, like, deep into playing. You know, I'm just using both my hands in a completely different way to how I normally would have. And then I wanted to know more about the notes and, like, where I could play. So if I was playing this note here, can I play that note there? Can I, like, what are the different, you know, there's arpeggios, there's scales, there's modes, there's all these different elements of theory that you can learn knowing nothing about music, right? Having never played, you can learn all of these different theories, and you can hold your own, right? I had a bit of an advantage. It can take a very long time to get your head around a lot of these theories. I had an advantage in the sense that I've been playing for like nearly 20 years, not knowing all of this stuff, because I played by ear. The moment I started learning this stuff, it's like the whole world just fucking opened up for me. And I was like, this is fucking amazing. So then taking that and going into that room with others who have been honing their craft for years. And let me tell you, like, our pianist is unbelievable, right? I don't know if you remember, there used to be a TV program on called Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
I mentioned it to him at the last jam room, and he went, "What? Do 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 do?" And I was like, "What? How do you? Have you learned that?" He's like, "No, I just watched it." And I just
and
like
you just know
his because he's
that's
that
unreal.
He's that so, but it's the integrity, it's the authenticity of, I am not just somebody who is really good at producing, apparently, and can make like really cool sounding music, but I'm also somebody who just has it. My finger is in that fucking tube. Do you know what I mean? I am connecting myself every moment to the music that is constantly happening.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's how it's expressing through me.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's the largely crafted, takes 2 years to write 4 songs. There's that part of me. Then there's the, like, I think on YouTube, after the next upload, there will be, it's under the name of 3 Men Finding on YouTube. And I think after the next upload, there's going to be something like 3 hours plus of content, right? Which is mental, because those 4 songs barely even touches half an hour and took 2 years. Yeah. And in like 3 weeks, we've got 3 hours of musical content that I'm proud to put up, right? And there's the facets, you know, there's that facet, then there's that facet. So that's me and my music. But you know as well, like, I also have the podcasting, because I love these conversations. Fuck me, do I love to talk? And you've loaded me up on coffee. I know, I'm really sorry.
There's little bits I keep thinking like, oh yeah, I could cut, and I'm like, no, he's just still.
He's on one.
Let it happen.
I'm gonna wrap this up. So, you know, there's that part of me that wants to have these conversations, you know, and because I'm also like deeply invested in consciousness, the power of the mind, like thinking. Like I'm Neela, my daughter, she bought me a cup for my birthday, and it says go away, I'm thinking, which apparently is something that I must have said, or she chose it. She's 9 and she thought that's appropriate for Dad. That's amazing, right?
She's a legend.
And then there's because you need 4, really, this chair. You could do it with 3, but I reckon it would be a little bit wobbly. But there's a fourth like prong to my creativity.
Okay.
And that's my story writing.
Yeah.
I'm constantly coming up with stories in my head. I look at people, I look at you, and I know, I don't even know. I do know. This is the thing. I know, but to you, I could tell you the story that I've created in my head about you on this day, and you could go, well, largely that's bullshit, and that's absolutely fine, because I'm not like trying to be right, but I can't help but make up these
that's
stories.
How your mind works, and how beautiful that there are so many prongs to it. Because I think something I struggled with for so many years was like finding my thing. There's loads. The thing. The thing. I literally be like, but I need to find my thing, like the thing, and I would like do something for a bit and inevitably get bored or not be quite like doing quite enough. We'll wrap out. Doing quite enough of whatever, but every time I would meet someone cool or listen to a podcast or whatever. I loved the podcasts where it would introduce someone like, oh, here's so and so. They are, you know, friggin' musician, scientist, like whatever, like all these different things. I'll be like, because my exclusive goal in life has always been to experience as much as possible. So why would I like try and put myself in this nice little neat box of one thing? And it's not to say that you shouldn't focus on things at separate times. So it leads quite nicely, actually. I'm glad you brought back up about kind of not perfecting, but deepening your understanding of your craft and stuff, because I've like experienced that recently. Because last year I second shot weddings with Emma all year, and like the knowledge, like technical knowledge of cameras and photography that I gained is just like you can't put a price on it. Like, so good. But for years, I was almost too scared to invest myself in it. I was like, I just, whatever, I just put it on auto, and then it's like, because like I've got the creative eye, so like whatever. But actually now, having invested in some better equipment and having a real understanding of it, I have more freedom in my craft, one of my chosen crafts now, because I understand it more and have a deeper technical knowledge. It isn't confining me more to know more about it.
No.
It makes me so much freer, actually. Do you know what I mean?
Because you have that creative, idea, and which actually I don't believe you have created. I don't believe anyone has creative ideas. I believe ideas have you.
I love that.
But in that moment, you realise the creative idea, and all of a sudden, you've got the tools.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that is our purpose in life. I don't think our purpose is to find our thing, because I think we have many things. I think our purpose, when a thing appears, one of the many things appears, learn how to do it. That's your fucking purpose, right? Because then when you, in any moment when that idea goes, I always imagine ideas as being like kind of like these young, like kind of spunky, up for it sort of. They're like forest nymphs that are just like so up for it, mischievous, like I'm going to make this, and they go, who is the best person that I can latch onto that is going to get this out the quickest? That's why you should never procrastinate as well, because those little idea nymphs fucking love it.
I
new
love
book,
that.
it's all coming.
Oh,
right?
God!
These idea nymphs, like they're literally, they've got latched onto me, and if you procrastinate, they're like, fuck this guy, I'm off.
Go into somewhere else. Exactly. And it's okay to I think it's important to note that it's okay to let go of things. If something's been going for a while and you're like, stale, actually, let it go, like pop into someone else's head.
Yeah, sure.
But if you feel, so I've spoken about this so many times with people about cultivating the perfect environment to start a business, release a piece of music, release a collection, learn a new skill. Guess what? There will never be the perfect environment. Shit is always changing. You are always changing. You will never get that perfect time and environment, so why keep putting it off? Just do it now.
Exactly. How much did you want to bail on doing this podcast before we started?
A little bit. Was feeling a little bit hormonal and sad. But I knew it would make me feel better.
How glad are you now?
So glad. My idea nymph was in my ear going, bitch, do it, it'll make you feel better. Yeah. And someone else might listen to it and be like, oh, bloody A, I'm going to, next time an idea comes into my head,
run with it.
Grab it by the balls.
Because that nymph will just keep giving you more. Like, even when you go, I don't know how to, you don't need to know. No. Just, you keep doing the thing. If there's something you need to learn along the way, learn it. Yeah. Like, just invest. Yeah. I've got a buddy of mine, and he is, shout out to Daz from FOX, he is like proper micro, like he wants to know the finer details. Well, he'll focus on the finer details to get something right and get something good, right? And they've created some unbelievable like sounding music and not just music, but like their whole stage, like their get up is an expression of creativity in itself. Yeah. You know, they've got this box that's just like, anyway, he one thing that I learned from him really quickly was his attention to learning something. If he didn't know how to do it, he'd go and buy the biggest motherfucking book he could find and read the thing from front to back, right? And I know that's not for everyone. Things are a bit, well, there's a lot of people out there on YouTube and various other places that will break shit down for you and get it to you as quick so you can digest it as quick as possible, right? Do that, because in doing that, when you do it in that little bite-sized section, all of a sudden you know a little bit more. Yeah. And you become a little bit more inspired.
And then it's just a snowball effect, isn't
absolutely.
It? You were just gathering along the way and rolling and So you've got to just do it.
Do it.
Nike nailed it. Yeah. Don't sponsor me. I don't like you.
They might do some good things. They employ a lot of people, so that's a good thing, right?
Yeah. There you go.
You know, there's always got to be that.
There's always we will find the good.
Did we cover everything?
Yeah, why not? I like it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
So grab your idea nymph by the balls.
Yeah.
And do it.
I feel like they don't have balls.
Moral of the story.
I feel like they're like non-gender specific.
100%.
And I don't mean like that I don't think they have both. Like they are the epitome of like they are. They just are. Yeah.
They just are.
Like
Epic.
I'm not going to say how because it's going to ruin it.
Okay.
If I say what came to me in that moment, it would ruin this whole thing. We've been really sensible.
We have.
We've not been like
held my tongue a few times.
Yeah, me too.
Didn't burp.
Yeah, you didn't burp. You did crack your fingers though.
I did notice it, and it was accidental. So sorry to everyone who heard that.
Yeah.
But
Mads has got some habits that ain't going to be nice on the podcast.
But there you go. Maybe I'll rename it to something about belching. Anyway, you've got to go back to work. Paddy's mouth gas. That's really cool. You've got to go back to work.
Yes.
And I should probably also do some work.
Okay.
But
how are you ending?
This is something
thanks,
mate.
This is something that
or just trail it off and be like,
stop.
Peace out.
Yeah, because I never kind of like. I would just go, thanks for coming on. And it always felt a bit awkward because you knew you were going to talk to that person after pressing stop.
Definitely.
So you kind of go, thanks for coming on.
It's also impossible to end it with you because you just don't stop talking.
I don't.
Pot kettle.
Love it. A good way.
Tell me.
Well, no, just in this instance is I could like plug my stuff that I've been talking about.
I was gonna say you have mentioned your music and stuff, but do you want to name and then I will put it in the
show notes. Yeah, that would be great.
Go. What you got?
So
where can people find you?
The most recent release is from my synth pop band Crux, which is
Spell it.
X_R_U_X.
Yeah.
Which someone pointed out to me is because X also means love, apparently. And he said, I always thought you were called Love Are You Love. And I was like, fucking we weren't, but I'm having that. So when an album comes along, I might call it that.
Do it.
Because I like it.
I like it.
But yeah, we're pronouncing it Crux.
Nice.
It's 4 tracks on Spotify, Amazon, all the streaming sites. 4 tracks called Conjecture, because Crux might not be so easy to find when searching. The best thing to do is go on my Instagram, which is Duf M, 1F. Just to, I wanted to move myself away from Duff McKagan and Duff Man. How many people I've been bought socks, mugs, belt buckles,
can't move for
pants,
memorabilia.
Yeah, I know.
I love it.
So
Duff with 1F.
1F
on Instagram.
Duff M.
And Prying Open podcast.
Prying Open podcast. You can search for that. That's probably easier to find. But basically, you just want to get yourself to my link tree, because in my link tree, you will find my podcast. You will find YouTube. You'll find the Crux stuff, and Three Men Finding, which is the jazz thing. Again, not a genre, not a style of music, but an approach. And eventually, but very soon, the book.
Yes.
Which is called
the book.
Yes.
Are you gonna say it?
Yeah. It's called The Original Idea. And it probably has more meaning to me than anybody else. But yes. And there will be there's another one I'm writing, and then there's one that's just been birthed in this podcast about the nymph ideas. I don't know how that's coming out, but I've got to start writing it.
But it will. And on that note, I'm going to go and create my link tree on my Instagram. Epic.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks.
You're the best.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.